don't you tell us a story? Because, we heard so many different rumors along the way, and then at the last minute, all of a sudden, Bruce Feldman tweets your name, and it starts to get some likes. So how did the process go down? How were you hired?
Well, I think that the process was thorough. It was professional. It was well done. My hat's off to Dr. Folt and every single person that was involved in that process. I think the advisory committee that did a phenomenal job and their thoroughness, and having a couple athletes on that, and having every aspect really explored and reviewed. I mean, it was frenetic for sure.
Mike, congratulations on getting the job. I think, we only have one segment when you're here, so I got a million questions. What's your immediate plans? I listened to your press conference a little bit and was trying to learn and implement your plan. What are your immediate goals here?
Well, it clearly is that. I think, what did I engage you with the first time we met tonight? What advice do you have? What recommendations do you have? And having the opportunity to engage with all kinds of different constituents is critical, but it's first and foremost always with our student athletes. And what a privilege, doggone it, to be with our women's soccer team and watch them receive a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, and that's good. And having the opportunity to engage with Coach and having an opportunity to meet some of his players and so forth. So it's about trying to really engage with all the different aspects associated with the program.
Yeah, you are an outsider, which a lot of us are excited about. The new ideas and a fresh perspective coming. What have you learned about USC since you've been here, and what are you still getting a feel for?
Well, I think, it all starts with the student-athletes. What I've learned is we have incredibly talented student-athletes here that are focused and committed, and they recognize the Trojan brand, and they recognize the standard that it is and what they've got to put together. And I think that's why talking to former players and getting a sense of where we are now, it's like, okay, hey, we've got to ensure that's it. And so it's interesting. I talk a lot about our incredible passion for the program, and it's just an effort to initially think we've got to get everybody in alignment and thinking, hey, we all want the same thing. We want to do everything we can to ensure that we're competitive. We get all that. And I think that's why when I think of the fight song, I initially am trying to learn the fight song. I'm reading the fight song, and you laugh. But, the line is fight on to victory.
There is.
So I'm thinking, hey, we want to win.
Yep.
And it's about victory. And it's not just about the sense of fighting.
Yep.
I think it's got to be a fight to the end and a fight to finish. And I think that was great with, the team this weekend. I mean, they had a lot of adversity. A lot of adversity, and to overcome that and fight to victory, that's what it's about.
Yeah, speaking of the ball game, it seems like you got to watch a little bit of it. What are your impressions of the football team and your outside perspective, I guess, of USC, coming into a new situation?
Well, it's exactly what I would expect. Athletic guys that are out there battling and battling together and doing everything they can to win the game.
Were you able to watch the game? What have your first week been like?
I didn't get a chance to watch every single play, but I was watching it as much as I could. And, again, I think that, they had a lot of adversity and a lot of things not go their way. And, penalties and turnovers and some different things that happen in ball games, but yet they overcame and they battled. And I think that's critical. That's the expectation, I think, as our former players have told me. Mental toughness, physical toughness, and the ability to go out there and dominate ball games, particularly up front. And I think that's something that I know Coach is committed to working on.
Only a few games here left in the season. What are some things you'll be watching, evaluating from the team, to make critical decisions moving forward? What are the things you'll be evaluating?
Well, it's exactly that. It's about their mental toughness and their focus and their ability to put it together. And I can know Coach is doing a terrific job with his staff and having them ready to go, and that's what it's about.
Changing topics a little bit to a bit of a bigger picture topic. One of the things you did when you were the AD at Colorado was bring them into the Pac-12. And I'm sure at that time it was a sort of a huge coup to move to the Pac-12. But there were a lot of promises, and now we're sort of years down the road, and a lot of, financially it seems like the conference is behind in some ways. So as you come into USC and now look towards sort of the next Pac-12 deal, where do you think this conference, how does this conference improve to close the gap a little bit?
Well, I had a nice visit with Larry Scott today, and I have stayed in touch with Larry even while I was at the University of Cincinnati on different issues around the intercollegiate athletics nationally and his leadership and so forth. The bottom line for USC is we need to take care of USC and let the league take advantage of the incredible equity and the brand that we have. So I think that's why we've got to ensure that our intensity of interest in the program is reflected. That's attendance, that's people that are following the program, people watching the program, helping enhance the marketability and the brand of the league. That's what I really believe our focus should be on. And I got to have a lot of respect for the colleagues in the league and other institutions. They got to do their part too, but you know what? USC's got to be the anchor that we know all USC should be, and I think that's obviously where our focus is going to be. And I think it's about that intensity of interest in recruiting and in coming to ball games and being a part of that. And I know that we have our hands full across all those platforms, but that's what it's about, intensity of interest. And so we want our young men and our young women to be successful. They're going to be a lot better and a lot more difficult to beat when we have an intensity of interest behind those athletes that give them a chance to win.
Mike, you were a former student athlete, at Kansas. Doing a little background on you. What's the best way you think to support student athletes? You think about the players. I think about being back at USC and the support network I had as an athletic director. What's the best way to support these young athletes?
Well, I think that's what I'm trying to talk about. I think it is a world-class experience. So when you walked out in the heyday and you're competing for national championships and you're at the pinnacle of college football, you knew each and every game when you went out there, the intensity of interest and the support you had, you probably played above your abilities, right? And I think that's what level. That's exactly right. So we want to raise that level of competitiveness to support our coaches and our student athletes. So when they run out there, regardless of the field they're competing in, they know they have everything they need to be competitive, and they have a home field advantage from the fans. They've been well schooled in the strength and conditioning area. They're ready to go there. They're well fed. They're taken care of mentally, associated with all the mental health issues and challenges associated with that they know socially they have everything that they need in place. We want to make sure that the deck is clear for them to aspire to reach the highest levels just like you did and play in the NFL or play everywhere they go or win gold medals or all do all those different things that we're doing. That's what we need to do. And so I'm not saying we're not, but I think that without question, it's about providing a world-class experience so that these coaches can go out and recruit people and come in and say, look, you're going to have all this, and you're going to have an incredible home field advantage, and the Coliseum should be a huge advantage for us, so we've got to ensure that's the case. That's going to help us recruit. That's going to help us win ball games. That's going to help our student-athlete experience. I'm sure if I asked you, and we're going to run out of time here, but if I asked you, tell me about your greatest experience about playing in a marquee game in the Coliseum, you're going to light up, and you're going to talk about, hey, there's a storm that rises out of the Coliseum that's special that inspired you and your teammates. And guess what? I'll bet your opponent looked across you in the eye and said, oh, man, have I got problems today.
I'm ready to go, Mike.
I'm
right?
Ready to go. I mean,
I'm ready to run out the tunnel
help
right
me
now.
understand that.
Maybe I can find another year of eligibility, Tim. We got something to do here, but
that's the real experience that they want.
Yes, that's exactly what they want. And you know what? I think that's what everybody wants. That's what our coaches want. That's what our fans want. That's right.
Yep.
And I think they expect that. And I don't think that is a reasonable request of our student athletes. And I think in the short time you asked me about what I'm learning, I think some of our athletes are looking at me saying, hey, Mike, we got to get everybody together and behind us, and we're not feeling that right now, and that's not a great thing to hear.
Yep.
And so I think that's one of the first priorities is to try and instill that so that when you came out of that tunnel, they know they've got them with them. And obviously with the big game coming up at home and the last home game for those seniors, and we don't have very many of them, but for those seniors and that team to know that, hey, doggone it, the Coliseum's with them. And creating that environment.
Let me ask you one more before we let you go. And you have 600 student athletes under you, and you have 21 head coaches, or at least 21 sports. In your career, you've hired a lot of coaches, some successful, some not successful. What's the through lines in the successful one? What do you think makes a great coach?
Leadership. It's that simple. Leadership, integrity, connection, engagement, energy, passion. All those different pieces. It's no different than when the NFL was looking for you to join a team. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a player that's going to come in here with professionalism and a commitment and dedication and a winner. So, but it all rises and sets on leadership.